This podcast is not safe for work and will feature movie spoilers. It will feature scenes described of a graphic nature. It will contain language which most listeners may find offensive. Welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. Hi everyone and welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. I'm your host Duncan McLeish. Welcome to the show. Up on this episode we are reviewing a screener that was issued to me for a movie which I have missed the deadline for its cinema run in the UK, which was the 6th of October. However, I'm getting my review out in advance of its Shudder release, which will be coming on the 27th. So basically a few days from now. So get this one marked in your must check out list because, spoiler alert, I kind of thought this one was rad. We're going to be reviewing When Evil Lurks. It is the brand new movie from, I believe it's Argentinian director, whose name I will struggle to pronounce. So let's skip past that. But I will tell you that he directed a little movie called Terrified, which came out a couple of years ago, which I bona fide loved. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Actually did scare me, which not many movies can do. Like, it got more than one, like, audible intake of breath and a jump scare or two as well. And it had a set piece involving a dead child at a family table, which kind of just, like, lived rent-free in my brain for about a week after I watched it. So this is his brand new movie. To be honest, I've been very eager to see what this director was going to return with, and you guys will be able to see it if you are on the Shudder platform. Now, this particular screener was sent in via Strike, who are always watching my back and always giving me the goods, so thank you very much to them for sending it through. It is being released via Vertigo, so Vertigo is the release company, distributor, who has released it for the cinematic run that it had, and is also working to publish it out onto Shudder as well. So keep your eyes peeled. You're going to see the trailer for this movie. When we return, we're going to be discussing it. We may get into a little bit of spoiler details. It's in the upfront intro. I do give you a bit of warning. Sometimes people get a bit miffed. Please, take this as a adherence to my words. There may be some spoilers in this review, so if you want to go in absolutely 100% blind, the movie is out this week. Just hit pause right now. You can come back, check out the movie after you've, check out the review after you've seen the movie, and then that way it's all easy. If you've seen it already, or you don't care about that sort of thing, then please stick around. I would love to entertain you for the next 10 minutes or so. So don't say you weren't warned, and here's a trailer.
Hay un embichado en el pueblo.
Estás asustando a mi familia.
¡Lo vi con mis propios ojos! ¡Estuve con él! Esto va a ser un infierno. ¡No!
Tenemos que encontrar a la bestia antes de que nazcan más. Los tiempos de la fe se terminan rápido.
Written and directed by Demián Rugna of Terrified, when Evil Lurks stars Ezequiel Rodriguez from Huello de Bruja, Damian Solomon from Satanic Hispanics, and Luis Zembrowski. The residents of a small rural town discover that a demon is about to be born amongst them. They desperately try and escape before the evil is born, but it may be too late. So, When Evil Lurks is, like I said before, it's the return of the director behind Terrified, which may still be on Shudder, I don't know. It's been a while since I watched it. I loved it when it came out. It made my top 10 list on that year because I thought it played that strong, and it genuinely was creepy. So, it was a kind of, is this lightning in a bottle, or can this guy, knock it out the park a second time? You will be happy to know that I think he delivers a really, really, really good follow-up. I don't think it's as good as Terrified, but let me justify that in a couple of minutes. I do think, though, as a more character-driven piece, which this movie definitely is over Terrified, this one really succeeds. The central premise is two brothers who live in a small town, come across what they believe is a possessed person, and this possessed person is going to birth a demon or evil unto the world, and as a result of that, they're in a kind of race against time to try and avert this, while also at the same time coming to grips with specifically our main protagonists' kind of fraught background, history and family life. The thing I loved about this movie, and it's actually something that you don't get in many movies anymore, and I feel it's a kind of crying shame, is this movie really grounds itself right from the off that everything you're seeing is kind of known and is real. So the idea of possessed people or demons in this movie right from the off is something that people that live in this part of the country are aware of. It's something that law enforcement and civil servants are aware of. It's something that the church is fully aware of, and it's something that people just live with as in part folklore and at the same part something that probably is real and tangible. This movie grounds that out maybe within the first 7 minutes in a way which actually shocked me at how easy it made it feel. At no point was getting me to raise an eyebrow per se with what I was seeing. Rather, if anything, it just handles it with such a direct authenticity that I kind of found myself just like, alright, that's the world we live in, cool, let's go. And I think that's to its testament. I think the way that the acting is kind of delivered in this movie with a very serious manner throughout, it's a ridiculously serious movie, actually also sells it. The reason I said that it kind of landed as maybe not the most original story I've ever seen, and this is a stretch, but last year, everyone will know, Shudder released a movie called The Sadness. It was touted as one of the grossest, most violent, gory movies ever made. I watched it. I enjoyed about half that movie. My general gripe on the movie was it straddled at times to be very serious and then other times very absurd, and I got kind of desensitized to the violence by the end. It never really took its foot off the pedal to deliver a human story, and as a result of that, it kind of fell a little bit flat for me. I need that connection, I need that emotional core in my movie to enjoy it, or to feel at least that characters are in peril. That movie never made me feel like I wanted to root for anyone in it. In the case of this movie, It is a similar idea of, well, this evil can just jump to person without necessarily any rhyme or reason, although there are rules and you should follow them. The way the acting is delivered, which is very sincere, very tense and very fraught, completely sells that. So I prefer this movie over The Sadness, because I think this one gives me stakes. There's something to fight for in this movie that there isn't elsewhere. So that gives it a big 2 thumbs up straight away and plus points from me. I also think that it's not only does it ground itself as this is a real world situation, but it also furthermore has across the board a high level of performance acting. That's everything from adults to kids, even to animals. They manage to get animals to behave in a particular way, which is slightly off-putting, which I also think is done really well. Coupled on top of that as well, the practical effects in this are absolutely chef's kiss sublime. Really gnarly, really gory, not overdone. Like, there's blood splatter, blood spray, but it makes sense. Wounds look like wounds. Dead animals look like dead animals. There is a particularly afflicted person at the beginning of the movie. That's the impetus for the story, which turned me off my... it probably doesn't help that I was eating soup at the time. That was probably a bad choice. Oh dear, just thinking about it there. But yeah, it did kind of turn my stomach a little bit, which I thought was really, really well done. So you have like great practical effects, you have great performances. You also have a taut story. This runs in at about an hour and 40, hour and 43 in length. Minus the credits, you're probably talking about an hour and 35. And it moves at a really good pace. Like, we get some great set pieces, some great designs. We get moments where you feel like your characters are getting room to breathe, only to be presented by the next level of danger. And that all escalates really well to a satisfying sort of, right, we've got to go and confront this head on and, you know, and save the world, save the day, save my family. I loved all the escalation there. I also loved that, very much like Terrified, this movie isn't necessarily wanting to give you the happiest of ends, and I will say no more about that, but I thought that was handled really, really well and delivered really, really, really well. I think the sound design is excellent. I think it shows its budget. I do feel like there are moments where you can feel this is maybe not made with, and I may be wrong about this, it doesn't feel like it's made with the same money that made Terrified, but I will say that every penny is shown on screen here. And there is a scene that evokes a particular Stephen King adaptation that may or may not involve some sort of vapor-esque residual sort of aura descending over a town, and a bit of father's anguish and grief, which is played out in this movie that I think strikes the same way. I was incredibly caught up with that in a way which I thought was phenomenal. There's a couple of kills in this one that come out of left field that you kind of anticipate that are going to come, so if anything you should be ready for them, but when they're delivered you do get that kind of intake of breath and you're a little bit stunned by it. Overall, I thought this movie was really, really, really good. Terrified to me is a 5. It's my, I love this movie in my kind of quasi old school Netflix, new school letterboxed 1 through 5 style review grades. I thought, it was top marks. I loved it. There was not one iota of the movie I didn't like. This one I think comes very fucking close. Like so close to the mark that... this guy is legit. The director is absolutely legit and is another voice from another part of the world that is just, plugging away, doing his own thing, making great horror movies. 2 for 2 for me. Whilst Terrified would get a 5, this one would get a 4.5, which, as a reminder, on my scale, 1 is hated it, 2 is didn't like it, 3 is liked it, 4 is really liked it, 5 is loved it. It sits somewhere between really liked it and loved it. Yeah, you should be checking this one out for sure. Now, it has already played in UK cinemas, however, it is about to make its way to Shudder. My sources tell me that its Shudder release date is the 27th of October. This review is likely dropping in or around the 22nd or 23rd of October, so you are mere couple of days away. This is probably going to come out on the Friday, I think, Friday the 27th of October, and I highly recommend it. I think you should check it out. I think this is a great one to add to your 31 of October. I think this is a great one to even hold off a couple of days and check out on Halloween. It delivers the goods. Really well done story, and yeah, I've got nothing else to say except to bring us in to close out this show. And thank you very much for checking out this review wherever you're checking it out. If you're checking it on YouTube, excellent, go and leave us a little comment and a little like, or just in general check out some of the back catalogue that we're slowly populating on the YouTube. If you're checking us out on Spotify, answer the question that we post in there, or Anchor, there's a question there for you as well. If you're checking us out on any of the podcatchers out there, then please hit subscribe there as well. There is the entire myriad back catalogue of over 1,270 episodes of Podcast Under the Stairs, where we review things right back to 2013, and that's the show started in 2013. Movies go further back than that, so please check that out. All that's left for me to say is, wherever you are, whatever the time zone is, and whatever you're up to in this big bad world of ours, please take care of yourselves out there. This is Duncan McLeish broadcasting live from Under the Stairs, and I am signing off.